Movies are a great way to let us escape from reality, but sometimes the stories they tell don't stray very far from it. We'll be looking at some epic tales about underdog heavyweight boxers, some terrifying tales from Southeast Asia that inspired a classic horror franchise, and the hard facts behind the well-loved fiction, Star Wars. Rocky is one of the most iconic boxing movies of all time, starring Sylvester Stallone as the underdog boxer Rocky Balboa. The movie tells the story of Rocky's rise from a small-time fighter to a contender for the heavyweight championship. What many people don't know is that the character was actually inspired by a real-life boxer named Chuck Wepner. Wepner, like Rocky, was a journeyman boxer who got a shot at the heavyweight title and went the distance against Muhammad Ali in 1975. Stallone was so inspired by Wepner's story that he wrote the script for Rocky in just 3 days. Nacho Libre is a comedy starring Jack Black as Ignacio, a cook who wants to become a luchador. The movie's based on the real-life story of Fray Tormenta, a Mexican Catholic priest, who became a masked wrestler to support his orphanage. Fray, whose real name is Sergio, began wrestling in the 1960s and continued to do so for over 20 years. He never revealed his true identity until the late 1990s, when he was forced to retire due to health issues. A Nightmare on Elm Street is a classic horror movie that introduced us to the iconic villain Freddy Krueger. The movie tells the story of a group of teenagers who are terrorized by him in their dreams. While the character of Freddy Krueger is fictional, the movie was inspired by a series of real-life tragedies in Southeast Asia. In the late 1970s, dozens of refugees from Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam passed away in their sleep due to conditions known as sudden unexpected nocturnal end syndrome. The cause of the syndrome is still unknown, but it inspired writer and director Wes Craven to create the character of Freddy Krueger. The Indiana Jones movies are some of the most beloved action-adventure films of all time, starring Harrison Ford as the daring archaeologist Indiana Jones. The movie follows Jones as he travels the world, battling Nazis, searching for ancient artifacts, and getting into all sorts of things. While the character of Indiana Jones is fictional, the movies were inspired by the real-life adventures of archaeologist Hiram Bingham. Bingham was the first person to explore the ruins of Machu Picchu in Peru, and his discoveries captivated the world. His expeditions and adventures in the early 20th century helped to fuel the popular imagination about archaeology and adventure. So Star Wars is one of the most beloved movie franchises of all time, with a devoted fan base that spans generations now. The movie takes place in a galaxy far, far away and follows the adventures of Jedi Knights, smugglers, and rebels as they battle against the evil Empire. While the story and characters of Star Wars are fictional, the movies were inspired by a variety of real-life sources, including mythology, classic literature, and even World War II. Creator George Lucas has cited the works of Joseph Campbell and the concept of the hero's journey as major influences on the movies. 300 is a visually stunning movie about the Battle of Thermopylae, in which 300 Spartan soldiers fought against a massive Persian army. The movie has some epic battle scenes that I still can't fathom actually happening to real people. It's also based on the graphic novel by Frank Miller, but the story is also rooted in history. The Battle of Thermopylae took place in 480 BC, during the Persian Wars, and the brave stand of the Spartans against overwhelming odds has become legendary. While the movie takes some liberties with the historical facts, it still captures the epic scale and heroism of the battle. Anastasia is an animated movie that tells the story of Anastasia Romanov, the youngest daughter of the last Tsar of Russia. The movie follows Anastasia as she tries to uncover her past and reclaim her identity after her family's killed by the Bolsheviks during the Russian Revolution. While the movie takes some liberties with the historical facts, it is based on the real-life story of Anastasia Romanov. Anastasia and her family were executed in 1918, but rumors persisted for decades that she'd survived. In the 1990s, the discovery of Romanov's remains confirmed that Anastasia and her family definitely didn't survive. Not to bring down the vibe or anything. And speaking of vibes, this one is definitely a tearjerker. The Blind Side's a heartwarming movie about a wealthy Southern family who takes in an unhoused teenager named Michael Oher and helps him become a star football player. The movie's based on the true story of Michael Oher, who went to play for the Baltimore Ravens in the NFL. Oher grew up in poverty and had a difficult childhood, but he was taken in by the Tui family and given the support he needed to succeed. The movie highlights the power of kindness, compassion, and the impact that a caring family can have on someone's life. Movies can be a powerful way to tell stories and inspire us. From the underdog story of Rocky to the epic battles of 300 and Star Wars, these movies remind us that truth can be just as exciting and inspiring as fiction. Even when movies take some liberties with the facts, they can still capture the essence of the real-life stories and the people that inspired them.